XRP price is at the all-time highs. It's bringing in a ton of FOMO. News and narratives are like crazy bullish. It's huge. Everyone is going in long, watching profits growing in their portfolio. Now, if you're in here for the real data points and you want to be conservative at these all-time highs rather than going hyped up and FOMOing into the market, watch this without missing any of it because it's all going to be critical. This is total crypto market on a quarterly chart. This trend line is valid all the way from 2017 highs. We're connecting it through the highs made in 2021 in the RSI, and here we are right here, right now. You can watch that a ton of these buying power is there. And you also understand the fact that the higher the MACD opened, that means chances of reaching a top is pretty high. Fine, that's total crypto market. Yeah, you bring up the alt market because we are more and more looking just towards the alt market. If you do notice, the price has been going up. That's clear. We have a clean indication here, right? The 1, the 2, the 3, it's going up. It's good. But then if you just pull up a horizontal line in here, it doesn't agree. It's saying it's now going up. So the buying strength is not increasing while the price in itself is increasing. Now let's put it on a monthly chart. We're zooming in, yeah? To see if the monthly, all that you need to understand is, does the monthly agree with the 3-month? Yeah? Does the weekly agree with the monthly? Does the 3-day agree with the daily and weekly? So you go from the higher time frame to the lower time frame. We'll do that here quickly. This is monthly. You notice the fact that the price is going up for sure. There is no doubt in that. But the trouble is someone is selling. Who is that? We really don't know. Now, we go into a daily. Okay, first 3-day. Yeah, here we are on a 3-day chart. Price is trending higher. There is no doubt you're watching the higher highs, higher lows, everything perfect. Yeah. Now, try and connect just in this season, which would look like this. So you have a resistance coming up in here. That's a 3-day chart on total crypto market. Now, at the same point, remember the talk we did about the total crypto market is also valid for the total altcoin market. You go onto a weekly chart, you get to plot a trend line. We're getting very close to that. Now, what is the trouble when we get very close to that? You all know that. You all know that. We all understand that. But the trouble is, right now the price is going up and it's hard to agree that something like this can ever happen. Yeah? Now, go on to a monthly, quarterly, whatever you want on a higher time frame to look at these data points. It would argue with you that this has been the zone. Now, I want to ask this question to you. This has been the zone where a lot of people got trapped into back in 2021. This has been the zone where a lot of people got stuck in early 2025. So then we dropped. Now, what do you think is happening? Do we have higher buying strength or we have little? Now, that's still altcoin chart, yes? Now, from all of this, we understand one thing, which is the key. We talked about the monthly. Now, take that into Bitcoin. We'll take the long-term Bitcoin chart, so this is easy. On the long-term Bitcoin chart, you need to first ask something before you go on to the Bitcoin dominance and then eventually come back up to XRP, XLM and look at what's happening there. Yes? Good. Now, watch this. If you look at the Bitcoin on a longer horizon chart and then start zooming in, we understand that okay, this thing is trending lower, but while it's trending lower, the price went up. Good. Now this thing is trending lower. That's within one cycle. And that's where the top was made. Okay, good. Now, where is the trouble? This time around, we're trending lower for sure, but we put in one top and we are doing the next top. So what is it going to be? The 1 and 2? That is the trouble, right? So when the price is going through these highs, the all-time highs, and the price is at the sky high, people kind of forget the fact that how long we have been continuing to the upside. If you measure the total number of days, you kind of get this, close to 1,000 days of bullish moves in the market. If you measure what happened back in 2018, 2019, all the way into the all-time highs in here, that's just about 1,000 days. So you kind of get to feel what's happening in the market. Say you want to look at further. Okay, good. You go back, you pick it up. Now, say you want to pick it right from the absolute bottom of the capitulation, it would look like this. Just about 1,000 days. Just about 1,000 days. We are now very close to the 1,000 days mark. Now, if you try to be a little bit emotionless and accurate, then only look at XRP chart. Because there's a lot of trouble in here. You have this as a trend line. See, we need long term. Yeah, you pick up the market cap. This is what you're observing in here. Is there any point of resistance or concern which may arise in here? You can plot it like this, for sure. You can also plot it like this, where you can argue that the number of touches on that line and rejection is higher at these points. So now that is a resistance. Fine. I just heard today morning, yes, it is a resistance, but resistance is meant to be broken. And that was a friendly advice from a brother. And I'm like, yeah, that is true for sure. So if we are wrong, we're looking at this. Now, in XRP, why didn't we go on a short position? Think about that. It's an easy answer. It can be manipulated and the price can push back up just like it did in 2021 in XLM. They are highly correlated, so that can happen, right? Now, you go pick up some of these assets, go on a monthly, go on a quarterly, and start from there to the bottom. Yeah, this is what you're observing. Everyone is bullish. There is no doubt about that in the market. But my base question here is, I know a lot of you are going to just comment, you're wrong. Yeah, I get it. But my question is, if this candle, which is the acting mother candle there, is still valid, did the trend change? So if the trend has not changed and you are in a short on this asset, would you go long? Just let me know that in the comment section. Yeah, just let me know that. Now, say you're not interested in Solana, you're not in the short on Solana. Good. Pick up Ether. Yeah, this is where we are. Good. If you pick up a 6-month chart on Ether, you get to see the same understanding which you just saw in Solana on a 3-month. One big candle down, a lot of these candles back to the upside and a rejection. Now what? Fake out? Okay, zoom in. We go into a 3-month. That's a quarterly chart. Yeah. Where are you right now? You are flirting with the all-time highs region there, trying to pull in more people. But what's the trouble? You don't have that amount of buying power which was there in October 2021. You don't have that amount of buying power which was back there in Jan 2024. Right now, the RSI is at 60. Last time when you reached this region, it was close to 70. So you kind of see a divergence. Now, where will this play out? At which day, which time, what price? No one knows. This is the trouble in the market. No one knows. Now, say a lot of questions came in about XLM. Let's pick up XLM. Yeah. And let's be honest with ourselves as well. This is what this asset is doing. Whether I agree, you agree or not, this is what this asset is doing. That level has been a resistance for that long. And that's why I told you guys when it was coming down to the moving average, maybe it can go bounce back up. You look at the Patreon and you'll see this. I posted this back and saying, okay, if it is a double bottom, this guy is going to come back up and test this. But if it does get rejected there, what do you think is going to happen? Like, it's easy, right? It's the history. Now, how did the history tell us that? When it was reaching that position with the higher highs, buying strength did not agree on that. When it was reaching there, buying strength did not agree on there. Now it's reaching back there. Buying strength is not agreeing, but that's a weekly, and you need a weekly candle close confirming that at this point. Yeah. Now, can that happen here? Will that happen at 0.6? Will that happen with a wick at 0.7? I don't know. I don't know. But I want to present the information in front of you, which is legit. Yeah. Which is legit. Because on a macro, there is something. This is XLM on a macro, which shows you it broke higher, it retested, and it's bouncing. That's bullish. Yeah. But what's the trouble? If you do not break this resistance, it's trouble. It's big trouble. Now, there are assets in the crypto market. If you go back and pick them up, and if you really, really want to learn from them, you will be picking them up on a longer horizon. Now, this guy doesn't have that chart. Let's try to bring that up on a long term, because if you're genuine, yeah, it's only if you are genuinely looking at the right data set to understand, is there any coins like that in the history which did something similar, yeah, back in the day or at this point. If that's you, then these assets and their comparison is going to help you. Now, where is it? Okay, fine. I think this should work. Now, we'll put it on a macro. We'll put it on a monthly. Let's make things easy. We'll put it on a log scale. Let's make things easier. There are assets which never went up like that. There are assets which stayed at that point. Yes, it looked like it's coming back up, breaking that, but it stayed there for this long. So for those assets, it's a range bound movement. This was a fake out. So there are multiple assets like that all the way from 2013, 2014 doing this. Now, maybe you never even heard of that, even though it's a coin from 2013. Why? There was no volume. There was no volume. The volume was going down. Now, from there, we know, right now the news is bullish. Everything is absolutely bullish. So in Binance, you have very little volume. In Bitstamp, you have very little buying volume, reducing all the way around. But the price is still going up. Everyone is being bullish. So this is where I want you to ask yourself, just look at the basic crypto market. Yeah. What you need to notice here is to look at what the 99% is doing. Now, yes, it's emotionally very hard and tough to do that. You are in greedy territory. Yesterday you were in 74. Last week you were in 71. So you are in greedy territory. Yeah. Price is going up. XRP is up like 40% for the week. Yeah, that's a huge move in the market. Now, that's where I honestly ask you guys this, okay, if that happens to be a resistance, what should we do? What should be the backup plan if you are looking at that scenario? Because when you zoom in, you kind of get to see, okay, the price is going up for sure, but it's making some of these movements. We don't know exactly which one. But when you zoom in, you kind of notice the fact that we have seen some of these before. Like you form one negative divergence on here. That's this one. And then you form another negative divergence. That's this one. So the 1 and 2. And then the price drops like 30%. Yeah. So now, imagine this is the 1 here. You got that. Imagine this is the 2 here. You're going for that. Good. The price is back up. Heavy. RSI is not. If we drop 30%, just say that's a retracement. That's a retracement. You come back somewhere close to 2.4, 2.5. If you believe that this asset is about to ride to $10, $15, that's going to be a great time for you to buy it if you strongly believe that, and you sold it mistakenly because I sold it here at these highs, then you're getting at least 10% more XRP. And you're able to ride it higher if your conviction is that much up on the entire market, or if that's just one asset. Now, what's my trouble? When the entire asset class is saying that it is trending lower on the strength of the buying side, yes, I have trouble understanding why I should not short the market. This is total crypto market. But yes, I'm not going short on all the different assets. I'm only going short on the assets where things are aligning like this. On a monthly, on a quarterly, if I'm seeing like this, okay, I'm in there shorting it. Now, I didn't tell you to short here at $70,000 in Bitcoin. Some stupid individuals are arguing that. But honestly, I didn't. You have the videos here and you know that. Yeah, you know that. Now, think about it. Back in 2022, here we shorted the market. Those who were there from this time already know that. What was the trouble? They also understood the fact that it is not the right time to do that. Now, here, when we entered the short, we sold it here. Yeah, that was a short-term move. Here, that was a long-term move. Now, at this point, when you're looking at the entire crypto market, just to make things easier for you to decide if you're still here watching this and you're not there for the hype and FOMO, observe the pattern. This pattern has historically been what? That's the trouble. When you have higher buying strength and you break through that pattern, yes, I agree, it looks like the old gold chart. But right now, when you don't have that amount of buying power and you are so high in price, that is troublesome. Now, yes, in a week, 2, 3, the short-term candlestick patterns will play out. A lot of people would look at that, yeah. But the moment it flips for the monthly, the moment it comes back down to the quarterly, a lot of individuals would understand, okay, there is something wrong here. There is some kind of trouble. Like this is a daily chart of XLM. Yes, it went up like nuts for sure. I didn't anticipate that kind of a bump. I was looking for something like this and a rejection, but it went up, sure. But if that daily candle happens to close like you are watching in here, then you're watching this kind of a reaction in the market. Go back in time and ask yourself where you saw the price going up but the RSI didn't, and what was the average drop in that asset. Now, if you want to, this is to help you to buy back. If you really think this asset is going to the skies and you want to buy that back and you're honest with yourself, then yes, there is one scenario where it may drop 65%. There is another scenario in here where it shows it's going up and the RSI kind of doesn't agree with that, and then the price drops 20%. So that's an opportunity for you. Now, the exact time in the RSI as we have right now is this. That thing kind of agrees with what we just measured earlier, that from the local highs, it can drop 50-60%. Now, this thing actually went down further from there, even though there was micro bounces, but there was a 60% drop on average. Now, you come back here. This is like, 2023. You have the price going up, and watch this. The price was up 40-50%. And then you had the RSI saying, I'm not going up. Something like what's happening right now in the price action. Then the price dropped 25%. So you may actually get a price action of 20-30% drop towards 60% drop if you think you want to buy this asset back in this region. Yeah. If that's you, then there is a possibility that this is going to happen. If not this. Now, take the same asset on a macro, because a lot of people are not thinking about that while we are trying to show you this, yeah, because it doesn't fit the hype narrative. If you get rejected in here, that's a trouble, because when you put it on a weekly and you look at it just like the name coin you saw from 2014, you see something here. Each time the market is going back up, it's going back up to a lower high. It's not going back up to a new high. That's not optimistic in that scenario. I mean, at least in my eyes, right? Now you pick up it on a monthly, you want to go on a quarterly, good, we go on to a quarterly. This is where you are. The price is at the all-time highest region and the RSI is not yet there. So there is going to be a ton of liquidity issues, ton of problems. Everyone is going bullish. you will see at one point, maybe this month, maybe next month, this argument being right. You will see that this argument was right. Now, why am I saying this? Because right now, it definitely looks like I'm wrong for sure. Yeah, I agree. There is a possibility. Now, back in the day when we got this day and the price stayed here, not everyone agreed. And when the price bounced back up, it went up 70%. And even at that time, I was getting the same heat. But I'm showing you the real data. After that, what happened? Because of that candle close and its continuation, the price dropped further. Now, question is, how much did it drop from there? It dropped close to 50% to the downside. So if that's what's about to happen, I want you to be careful. You want to go buy long? Good. You can do that. It's your money. It's your decision for sure. But all that I want to ask you now, while I'm ending this video, is if the daily chart is showing you there is a possibility like this, and this is already confirmed, that's a negative divergence. You go on to a 3-day chart, and the 3-day chart says price went up, but the RSI didn't, and it closed there with an inverted hammer. How do you make sense of that? Price went up, RSI collapsed, inverted hammer. That's a 3-day. So you now have something on a daily, now have something on a 3-day. Now, here we are on a weekly chart. Weekly didn't close yet for sure, but you have a doji. Now, we don't know how it's supposed to close, but if it's based on the daily and 3-day, it will close lower. Now, on a weekly, what do you notice? This is the trend line, and this is where you are right now. We don't know whether it's going to break or not, but technically speaking, when you're at that point, you do trades based on the understanding that it's going to react at that resistance. Now, how would that even make sense, Danny? Yeah, this is what I'm saying. When you had that trend line validation, next time when you dropped, what did I say here? We believe that that trend line is strong and it will work. We bought in here, didn't we? Now that worked. Now, I think the trend has changed, and I think we're going this way, so it can come back down to these points. In any way, in next 3 to 5 weeks, 6 weeks, you will see what the price action is doing, and you will see who tried to give you the right data point when everyone was FOMOing into the market with the news, with the narrative, and following the trend at that short-term level rather than looking at the macro. So if you received value, smash that like button. I'll meet you guys in the next video. Bye for now.